Welcome to the Seven Figure Builder Show. My name is Julie Baranek, founder of Seven Figure Builder, where we help high achieving CEOs work smarter, not harder, with gorgeous insights to scale to seven figures and beyond. And I'm here today with my friend Melissa Ricker. Hey, Melissa.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I am thrilled to have you on today, and I can't wait to really dig into all the fabulousness that you've got going on in your business.
Yay, me too.
But for anyone that hasn't had the pleasure to meet you yet, can you tell us just a little bit about what you do with your business?
Sure. So my name is Melissa Ricker and founder of the Engineer to Scale business model. I work with a lot of coaches, consultants, service providers, course creators, just people that are looking to scale their business online. And I help them do just that with a specific kind of funnel strategy. And we have our own software that we've built and launched. So we do, again, smarter, not harder.
Awesome. So where do you help people start? Do they, is it at the beginning? Is it kind of established? Where do you really come into play?
Yeah, typically it's that, okay, we've got some clients, we've got some things, but really looking for more consistency, not, get out of like I never know where my next client's coming from phase. So it's really for those who are looking to actually get some scalable growth.
Awesome. Yeah. And that's so important. A lot of companies tend to be successful in spite of themselves, I find, when they start at least. And then it's like, oh, I need to be intentional about this. And that's a different ball game.
I have a story around that too. So
I'm sure you do. So tell me, how did you get started in this? I know you've got an incredible story.
Yeah, I kind of it is an interesting story. I had no desire to be an entrepreneur. I used to think it was like, I didn't understand it. I thought I was like, oh no, that's irresponsible. I gotta be in the corporate world. And I was in the corporate world, a nuclear engineer by degree. And so I worked in the engineering field, first in nuclear, and then I went over to oil and gas and had, I wanted to be CEO of that big oil company. That was like my goal. And I was working my way there until I had my first little baby boy.
Mm-hmm.
And everything kind of changed after that because I was working like 10-hour days and commutes and had a nanny who was essentially kind of raising my kid. And so about the time of his first birthday, I just was like, this is not how my story is going to go. And I walked away from a very hefty paycheck and a big career and had no idea what I was doing. But I was like, I'm a nuclear engineer. I can figure this out, right? That's what I thought anyways. That's what I thought. I ended up falling like flat on my face. I mean, it took me 2 years to even figure out how to do anything and make money online. But since then, we scaled pretty quickly, and now I've had 7-figure business for since 2020.
That's awesome. That's absolutely incredible. So what would you say is the game changer in that? Like, you're trying, you're, struggling, and then finally something opened up.
I think, it sounds so simple, but it's like giving the focus to one thing so that you can figure it out. I was back there I tried so many different business ideas. I was like, one day I was a blogger, the next day I was a freelance writer, then I was trying network marketing, and then I was doing this, and then I was, so I didn't stay with anything long enough to really figure it out. And once I did, then everything kind of changed after that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hear that so often too. It's like that one thing for that 1 year, the one goal that, that's how you really make it happen.
Yeah, you got to work it out first. You have to figure things out. And if you pivot every time, like you're never going to get there. And I knew that, but I didn't.
But what is that one thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Just tell me what it is and I can do it. I know. So we're both very much systems and automation minded, obviously, with that engineering focus. How has that made a difference once you figured out that one thing, right? Like, how has that made a difference in your business?
Well, I think that was kind of part of me finding the thing is I was just trying things that other people were doing. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't me. And it wasn't what I was good at. And so finally going back to who I was like, I am really good at numbers and data and systems and automations and building things. And so I got into the funnel world, and I was like, this is my space. Like I can do this. And that's what I did, and that's what I still do. And I love it because I can apply my engineering to a world that doesn't have a lot of those types of brains. So it's like bringing the engineering piece to marketing. It's like,
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Totally. It's amazing. I know. So do you help people like figure out their funnels? Do you help them build them? Like, where do you help people with that?
Yeah, all of the above. All of the above. And then we help them like really dial them in and optimize them.
Mhm.
So it's like, one funnel at a time. But all of like the big thing that I noticed with a lot of our clients is that they have a bunch of things, but there's no cohesive strategy. So we can build out, 5 funnels, but they have to make sense with each other. They have to
Yeah.
like build and that way they actually can be profitable and have, the whole client journey there. But we
Mhm.
start with one, and we start with the one that makes the most money the quickest, and then we go from there.
Awesome. Yes. And congratulations on your award behind you. That is a huge accomplishment.
Yes, it is. And it's I was a big ClickFunnels. I mean, I love Russell Brunson. He's a part of my story, actually.
Yeah.
He's one of the people that really was part of my turning point in my business. But now I have my own software that quote unquote competes with and
Nice.
but yeah, I love my award. That was, God, what an accomplishment.
Yeah. So do you want to share that with us? Like, what was that like in your journey?
Yeah, so I actually, you remember the One Funnel Away
Mhm.
challenge when that was a
Yep.
big, I got into that and I started getting into funnels. And I took the One Funnel Away challenge. And then what I ended up doing was the way I was talking about these funnels was a little bit different than the way he talked about them. And so I was an affiliate of this One Funnel Away challenge. And what ended up happening is people were buying the One Funnel Away challenge, but it was just so they could work with me while they were implementing the One Funnel Away challenge.
Nice.
And so I ended up winning one of the top affiliate awards for the One Funnel Away challenge. And so they flew us out to the ClickFunnels headquarters. They put us up in this amazing place on the lake. And so we each got to ask Russell one question. And so he got over to me and I was like, oh, I just don't know what my question is. But they have at the ClickFunnels headquarters, they have this room that you walk in and it's got the 2 comma club and it's just plastered everywhere. And there's very few women up there, by the way. But like all of us that were there, we all were like, oh my gosh, I want one of these. And I have the picture of me standing in that room. It's August of 2019. And so I came out and I ended up asking Russell, I was like, okay, so if like we all said we want one, everybody probably says they want one. What's the biggest difference between those who actually get it and those who don't? And, he kind of smiled, and he's really like, he's an introvert like me. He's like,
Yeah.
it's so funny to meet him in real life. But he's like, well, if I open up your ClickFunnels account, like how many funnels am I going to see? He's like, if I see just tons of funnels in there, like, I mean, it's probably not going to happen.
Mhm.
If I see, a couple of funnels, now we're talking. And I was like, oh my God, please don't open my ClickFunnels.
What about the ones you tried and learned and
Please don't open but I mean, really what he was saying was just focus. Like he was just saying it a different way. But like for
totally.
whatever reason, I took it to heart. And so we were only supposed to get one question each, but I was like, I was like, but what funnel? But what funnel? And he said the high ticket presentation funnel. So which is interesting because it's not the one that was taught in the
Mhm.
One Funnel Away challenge.
Yeah.
But so I went home and I was like, what does that mean for me? And I ended up putting together like a challenge because he's big on webinars and but I didn't know how to I don't know, I talk a lot once I get going. So I was like, I'm gonna do like a 5-day challenge. And so that was gonna be my one funnel. And I was like, this is it. It's gonna be my one funnel. And so that was August. I was at ClickFunnels. I launched it in October for the first time. And I got 0 clients. 0. And it was, I was kind of used to that feeling, but the big difference is like I didn't go to a different funnel. I just tried to learn from it, and I launched it again in beginning of December, and I got a couple of clients. We got a couple people gave me money, like thousands of dollars.
Right.
First time I'd ever charged anything like that. And I was like, this is cool. Nothing like crazy, but like, this is cool. And then I launched it again in January. So just, yeah, a couple months later, and it was a 6-figure launch,
Wow.
like out of nowhere. I remember, like, I just stared at it and I was like,
this works.
and so then I just kept doing it. I just kept doing it. And so I hit 7 figures of revenue collected less than a year from standing in that 2 column door.
That's incredible.
And it's really still a lot of what I do today. Like I've added, I've gotten fancier, I've automated a lot of it, but like at the core, I still do what works.
Mhm. Yeah, no, and I think you hit on a big key too, is repeating it and then optimizing it and making it better, refining it time and time again, what's working, what's not working, and then you can keep tweaking it to make it even more effective is huge.
And that's where the engineering side of like looking at data, and like you just find what you can tweak and make it a little bit better every time. Like that's the real magic.
Yeah, it is. But you got to look at it and not just hop from shiny object to shiny object to shiny object, which we're all so keen to do.
Well, it's like if it doesn't work and it hurts, right? When you put yourself out there like that and it doesn't convert. Just like, my little kid plays baseball. It'd be like him expecting to get a home run the first time he gets up to bat. Never swung at a ball before.
Truly.
You got to learn the skill.
Yep. So you mentioned that you have your own software now. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So, I was with ClickFunnels for a long time. And I had a bunch of different softwares, piecing them all together. And we really got into the data when we started scaling, and started just realizing that 50% or more of our sales came from follow-up. But we were manually, we were manually tracking our leads on spreadsheets, and we just realized like there's got to be a better way than this. And so we ended up partnering with Go High Level, and got it, I didn't, not right away, but like I got my account over there, and then we started learning it, and we started making more money and tightening up our processes. And then our clients were struggling with the same thing, of course, right? And so I was like, my clients don't like the tech like I do. They don't want to do all this stuff. So let me just build it for them. And so now we rebranded, ours is called the Champagne Room, which is a lot of fun. It's the place where you go to have fun with your tech and celebrate your funnels are converting. But we built out the entire business strategy that we teach, including everything's hooked up, and that way everybody's using the same stuff. It's beautiful. And we're finally selling it out. All of our high ticket clients have been using it for a couple of years now, but we're finally selling it out into the big open world now.
That's amazing. So you touched on, that is absolutely amazing. Well, and then all the pieces are tied together, the system, right? So you can really help your clients be more effective with it.
You really can. I mean, it makes a big difference to have everything under one roof, where everything's talking to each other, everything's housed in one place. You can manage your clients there, and you have all the history. Like it's just, it's so nice. We don't have to have remember the days where we had a separate cell phone, and we had the TomTom navigator, and now it's all in one. Like there's no reason to work harder.
Right. Exactly. So what is your platform called, if you want to share the name and how people can check it out?
Yeah, it is the Champagne Room is the name of our software, and it's even pretty. Even made it pretty.
I love it.
But we love the idea of celebrating what we're doing, because it's so it's not the easiest path that we've chosen to have our own businesses. And so it's so important to just to celebrate when our numbers are working, and the software is built to help your numbers work. So let's celebrate that they are.
Definitely. So you kind of touched on this, but how has having the right insights into your data positioned you for success, and that with your clients, right?
Yeah, because when you're actually looking at it, first of all, I love numbers because it takes the emotion out, which is what we need to do as business owners. It's so easy to, make decisions based on how we feel versus what the data is telling you. And the data, I love it because we can take our client's launch and we can look at it objectively and we can say, here was your bottleneck. And that's good. Like when we find out what the problem is, like, I love it. I celebrate it because I'm like, now we can do something about it.
Exactly.
And instead, like, a lot of times when something doesn't work, we feel like we have to overhaul. And that's not what we need to do at all.
Mhm.
We need to go and fix one bottleneck at a time. And there's always going to be a bottleneck. So we just play past the bottleneck. But if you're looking at the right numbers, you can see exactly where it is. And then you get one thing to improve before your next round, or evergreen funnels. It's just improve it and then get some more data. And so it's like we could just have this different mindset around it. It's like, no, we need to go get our data so we can find our bottleneck, tweak, and optimize. And it just changes everything when you look at it from that way. And when you split it up and you look at like each job of the funnel has its one job, right? The ad is just the only job of the ad is to get a click. The only job of the landing, and you can start to say, well, what piece of the puzzle is not doing its job?
Mm-hmm.
And then we just go fix it. And
right.
It's so nice.
Well, and each step you're going to do something different, right? It's not the same fix for every single step.
It's not.
So.
Each step has it, like, wears its own hat, and it's like, so we go and we look at that one in a silo, right? And we fix it and we tweak and we test. And we, once you got it dialed in, like, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, totally. So how do you recommend for people to feed their funnels? Like, you can have the most gorgeous funnel out there, the most gorgeous product out there, as you know, but if there's no traffic, you're stuck.
Yeah. And we see that a lot. We spend a lot of time building these beautiful things. And then, we've got to get the data. Because we have to actually do a big launch of the funnel, or we have to get our people in it to see if it works. And so, of course, we have all of our metrics for how many people do we need to determine, like, before we can tweak and optimize. But there's a lot of ways to do it. Some of our clients, I love ads just because I'm very busy. I have 2 little kids, and I'd rather pay my money than my time now that I have proven my messaging and all of that.
Right.
But we have a lot of our clients that don't want to ever run ads. And so there's organic ways as well. I'm a big fan of leverage. So leveraged ways to get people, get eyeballs on your stuff, like podcast interviewing and, but there's a lot of ways to do it, but we have to get people there. You've got to fill your funnel and keep the leads, coming in.
Absolutely. And you mentioned with the champagne room, obviously it's about having fun, enjoying the process, but how do you encourage business owners to really have fun in their business again?
It's such a great question. And there's been times that I've wanted to shut my business down, like burn it to the ground. Not just shut.
We all have those days,
but burn it. And I think that for us and what we do with our clients too, because it's so easy to get stuck in the day to day, and that's where it just kills us. It just brings us down. Like, we have to have built-in times to look back to the bigger picture and why we're doing it, and get excited about something again. And that's what keeps me alive, is like, I love getting excited about what's next. And so even if you just do it, like, we just do once a quarter where we kind of just take a pause and we come back to the vision, and then we reverse engineer from there, like, what we do next.
Right.
And we might, fall back in love with your business at least once a quarter.
Yes. In the tech world, we call them retrospectives, right?
Exactly. That's exactly. And that's a big part of it too, is reflecting back what went well, what didn't you like? Now that I've kind of been through what I've been through, like, as soon as something isn't in alignment with my vision, I just cut it now.
Yeah.
I just cut it.
And it's not personal, right? Like, I think that's where we got to pull the emotion out of it and say, okay, that didn't work, and that's okay. but we learned from it and now we can do things differently.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. So obviously you have your little ones at home and that has its own challenges, right? And I love my little, well, mine are not so little anymore, but what do you recommend for people in trying to keep all the balls in the air and really juggle their life?
I mean, you got to have a plan. I think trying to wing it when you've got little ones doesn't always work. Obviously, I mean, it doesn't happen overnight, but if you start thinking of like everything that you do that's repeatable, start to automate it. I wish I had done that long time ago. Automate it, delegate, all of those things, but also just have a plan. Like there are sometimes I have to get up early so I can work before my kids wake up. There's other times, so it's not always perfect. And I think that too took me a while to wrap my head around. Like just they're okay sometimes if they have to watch TV for a little bit,
Yeah.
because overall, like this is for them. But yeah, there's no like one piece of advice I could give except like have a plan and then just constantly revisit the plan so you can adjust and you tweak and you see what works and what doesn't. Just don't let your business consume your life because it will it will take everything you give it. It will take, and then it'll want more.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where I was working more than I was when I was the big engineering manager.
Yeah.
And like the whole point of me leaving my job and like I'd gone the other way. Yeah, I was at home with my kids, but they were still with somebody else or in front of a TV. Like I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
So just, I think it's just to keep that in mind. What are you ultimately doing and why did you do it? And bring that, like, I always like to say, like, use it as a gut check.
100%. Yeah. And just keeping that vision in mind of where do you want to be 3 years from now? And am I actually heading towards that? Or am I just burying myself in more every single day?
Yeah. And there'll be seasons where like you do have to make some sacrifices, but as long as it's moving you toward where you ultimately want, that's the important part.
Totally. So you mentioned about, obviously we talk about automation, but when do you recommend people thinking about automation? Like at what point in their business should they think about it?
I mean, you got to have some stuff that works, right? You got to be making some money. Like don't, have some revenue, get to the point where you can, you even have done enough to know what's repeatable. I in the funnel world, and I remember in my one funnel away days, a lot of those people didn't even need funnels. Like, it's an easy rabbit hole to go down when you just need to go make some money first. Like validate your idea, get some revenue in the door, do it long enough so that you've got a good offer, and then that's when you can start seeing patterns.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think about that too, like having the similar engineer mind. I want to build the whole system and like
I
go
do
down
too.
that path. Think about it from day one, because that's just how my brain works. But you don't want to speed up something that's not working, because that's just going to bring you flat on your face faster, right?
Absolutely. And it's fun to do, but there is a time for it. And it's an investment of time, energy, and money to get all that in place. Now it's beautiful once you get it done. But just start with the basics, get yourself, consistent, some consistency in your revenue, and then you can start getting fancy with it.
100%. So you've got lots of things going, obviously, but what is the most life-changing goal for you this coming year?
So this year, the champagne room is like my big focus. We still have our coaching programs. That's Engineered to Scale is our big coaching program. We still have that. That's humming along. Like we've got that one in. But my big goal this year is to get the champagne room alone to a 7-figure revenue stream. And I'm putting a lot of effort, energy, money into it to make that happen. But that's what gets me excited is the having that. And I'm very proud of what we've done. And as you can see, I get excited about it.
Absolutely, as you should. I mean, that's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears going into a launch like that, and really providing that product for your clients.
Yes. Our clients have been loving it, but what I found is it's very different, right? It's kind of like going, even though I can sell, 5, 6-figure packages. I was like, oh my gosh, why? Well, I thought hundreds and hundreds of people would come buy it right away. And I'm like, it's a different product. Like I need to go back to the drawing board. And so it's been a lot of fun too. It's for such a big software program, being able to talk about it in a succinct way. Like I had to figure that out.
Yeah. Yeah. And every single time over, right? It's like every product you have to figure
And
out that.
So it's like it's coming back to where I was, like figuring things out, how to talk about what all the stuff, and follow my own process.
Right. Sometimes we have to do that.
So we have to do that.
Yes. So you've accomplished so much in your career, both, corporate world and in your entrepreneurial career. How do you define success? What does that look like for you?
It's funny because before, when I first left, like it was all about the money. It was like, I just need to make the money. I just need to make the money, and that'll make me successful. And then I remember the day that my Stripe account ticked to the 7-figure mark. And I'd been watching it, I was aware of it. And then when it actually happened, I mean, it was cool. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was cool. We did celebrate. We had a bottle of champagne that we'd had for a while waiting for that day. But it was just like, it wasn't about the money anymore. Looking back, like what I'm most proud of is just like that I put myself out there and I did something big, and I stuck to it long enough that it worked, and that it's building the life that I ultimately want. Like I want to homeschool my kids long term, and I want to be at every baseball tournament, and like that's why I'm doing all this. So if I can do that, I can get to the place where it's like I work 3 days a week. Like that's my vision, 3 days a week. Like that's success.
That's amazing. Yeah. And I hear it so often, but that the fulfillment is not in the dollars. Obviously the dollars are nice, but the fulfillment is really in what is that vision? Like you said, to be home with your children, to be able to work, not as crazy as you have been to get to this point. And that's awesome as to, where you find that fulfillment in your success.
Yeah. I mean, I love what I do, so I could do it all day long, but that's
Yeah.
but I want to be every part of everything that my kids do, because they're growing up so fast. Oh my God.
And yeah, it goes even faster as you in these next few years. It's crazy. So as you're building out your team, what do you, and even from the corporate world, but what do you find makes a good leader?
I think that the thing I look for the most is being able to think bigger, think more strategically, and like see the bigger picture, so we can make, like, the big thing about a leader is like they got to be good at making decisions and know what decisions to make. And so that's what I look for the most. But the other part of it is that they have to fit your culture. And for me, it's like you got to care. And so that's kind of what I look for, is the combination of those two things coming together. Being able to think critically, make good decisions without really questioning yourself too much, and then just loving what you do and caring about the people you do it for.
Yeah. Yeah. And instilling that same passion that you have that obviously bubbles out. You want that to be echoed in your team.
Yeah. And they do. I have it took me a while. It was a big learning curve. Whole other podcast episode on that one. Right. But yeah, I finally, my team they're amazing.
That's awesome. And, obviously you automate things, you're system minded, but how have you learned to work smarter, not harder?
Yeah, I think it's just thinking about it, like having, like, everything we do is with intention. So if I'm going to build a new funnel, it's built with the intention, like it's going to be $1 million funnel. Mm-hmm. And I think just thinking about things that way will help you work. When you do the work, it's going to go somewhere and do something. And then yes, automation, I'm obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with it. And we have some really cool stuff coming out, and it's just cool what you can, like, once you see what needs to happen in the strategy, it's just cool that you can automate so much of it.
Yeah.
So my client tells me, I want to do this. I'm like, yeah, we can automate that.
Yeah. And then you don't have to do it anymore, and it'll work.
And I love that part too.
For sure. I know it takes out the I hate to say it, but the human error. Like you don't have to implement it and do it over and over again. And yet it's still, as long as it's functioning,
yes,
it works.
it becomes repeatable and consistent. And when you're working with a lot of clients, like that's very important.
Mhm. Absolutely. So what can people expect from you next? And we talked a little bit about that for your champagne room and all the awesomeness coming.
Yeah, the champagne room is newly released. I just did a master class yesterday. Yesterday. We just put in a big AI component into the champagne room. So now the next step is for us is going to be making our champagne room even more AI powered, because it just complements everything.
Yeah. That's amazing. And how are you bringing that in? What are you using it for in your platform?
So we've got it as a copywriter. So it comes built in, so you can like essentially pull in something like a chat GPT, like, but right there. And then we've got all for every piece of the funnel, all the prompts to ask it, right? So to get you a good, you know how AI is, like, it's so exciting, but if you don't ask it good questions,
Yes.
you're not going to get good answers. And then we're building a whole AI component in the back end, as far as like on our chat bots, and even in some of our funnel responses, having the right keywords and things that it's looking for can shoot leads this way, qualify your leads. We're coming out with a lead scorer,
Love that.
which is just, behind the scenes looking for buyer behavior and alerting you when, hey, this might be someone you want to follow up with. They're clicking a lot of things there.
Love that.
So we're rolling out some really cool stuff this year.
Awesome. 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 So if you had the attention of the whole world for 5 minutes, what would you tell them?
Good question. I would just say, like, just looking back at my journey is like, do something that you love, because building a business, like, it's going to be a lot of work, a lot of blood, sweat, a lot of tears, a lot of tears.
For sure.
So, just make sure you're building like a business that you're not going to resent one day. Something that gets you fired up. Like, if you're on a podcast interview and you're not like excited about what you're talking about, like just make sure you're doing something that you really do enjoy. Your superpowers.
Absolutely. That's
The
awesome.
thing you would do, like, if I mean, I know this, I would never work for, I know it's just anybody works for free. Like, you would do it even if you were doing it without money, right? You would still do it because you love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that makes things so much easier for everything else. If it just comes out of you and it's obvious, then it's that much easier to do everything that comes with it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the late nights, if you're doing something you enjoy, aren't so bad. If you're doing something you hate and you're working late at night, like, double whammy.
Exactly. Exactly. So how can listeners best support you in your work? Where can they find you online?
So you can come to my website. I can give you all the links, and I can include a little coupon code for the AI workshop that I did bundle that includes all the little prompts and stuff. If
Please
anyone
do. Yeah, absolutely. We'll have all the links below so everybody can grab them.
Yay!
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Melissa. This was a lot of fun to chat. I could talk to you all day about this. So it's a lot of fun. But if you found value in this episode, please do share it and definitely check out the fabulous things that Melissa has on the links below. And you can find me at sevenfigurebuilder.com. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.